Hey guys, welcome back to the Positive Tribe podcast. As always, I'm Derek.
I'm Dan.
How's it going? So today we're going to be talking about teaching kindness to your kids.
Ooh, that's tough.
If you don't have kids, then you can apply this to nieces, nephews, neighbors, whatever.
Because this works for everyone, not
yeah.
just kids.
That's true. It does work for everyone. But speaking about kids specifically, why do you think it's important to teach kids how to be kind?
To reduce bullying is a big one. I know we had an episode about bullying, and by teaching your kids how to be positive and kind to others, it's going to hopefully kind of set a wave out, a ripple out into creating more.
So, kids at a young age, their brain isn't fully developed. So a lot of them, I mean, they know the difference between right and wrong, but they are so self-absorbed. All kids at that young age, they're selfish, just innately, that toy's mine, you can't play with it. So they actually, you never think about, I need to teach my kid to be kind. Like, you don't really think about that exact phrase coming out of your mouth. But, and it's also important to teach your kids and to have them recognize different emotions. When my kid's throwing a tantrum, I get down on their level and I say, okay, you're experiencing this anger because A, B, and C. So it's good to have them reflect and recognize those different emotions. Mm-hmm. And so while you're doing that, you can also take that moment and tell them, well, that wasn't very kind that you did that because it hurt my feelings. Yeah. I think really explaining it and breaking it down for those kids, it helps them realize, oh yeah, well, that wasn't really kind. I am being selfish, so
yeah.
But to avoid the bullying for sure, that's a huge one. So what are some ways to teach kids kindness? What do you do in your family?
So what we do is we kind of, obviously we teach sharing. If a kid is playing with a specific toy, you don't take it from them. And we explain that, it's their toy, they're playing with it. If they're not playing with it, you can play with it. But if they're currently playing with it, you can ask. Yeah. If they say no, that's fine. Just pick a different toy. That's kind of the biggest thing, because especially where we have two kids that are completely different ages. We got one that's turning 6 and one that's just turned 1. Right. It's hard, but that's kind of how we kind of approach that situation. There's other situations out there too, but it's really tough. It really is.
Yeah. No, it's and I think that's the biggest thing for kids at that young age is they don't realize that being kind and sharing and all those things, they're just kind of in their own little world, and so they don't realize, well, I've got these other people around me that I need to be aware of that have feelings too, because they're still learning all those little things. Some ways that I teach kindness in my house is my wife's actually really, really good at this. She'll teach our kids to compliment people around them, and I feel like my kids have gotten so good at that, and because again, a lot of kids are self-absorbed, and that's totally normal, but teaching your kids to compliment and recognize good things about others, and I think that's a good example for parents to do, because I'm gonna do it to my wife's gonna do it to me, and our kids are always watching. So
always.
They're always learning. Let's see, and then show, some other examples are show kindness in books and movies and games. That's definitely something that kids can relate to. They're always going to be playing games. We're always going to, if we're reading them a story and stuff, we can stop on those examples and say, see, this is how Jane did it in this book, and that's how, what can you learn from that? So, any other examples that you guys do in your house, or that you've seen work or doesn't work maybe?
So one thing that we've seen is, my daughter, she's very outspoken, positive and negative.
I love it.
We've been working on it, but she'll some days my wife will just put on some clothes and she'll just be like, whatever, it's just something to wear. Yeah, I don't care. And then my daughter will come in, oh, you look absolutely gorgeous. Oh, things like that, and it's. And there's other days she doesn't say that, but we're not going to get into those days. So, it's all about taking baby steps. Yeah. Because they're not going to change overnight.
Yeah.
You have to work on it.
Yeah.
But like you said, if as long as you do it, they'll mimic it, and they'll eventually kind of hardwire them to do that.
Yeah.
Whether it be compliments, whether it be sharing, whether it's just kindness in general.
And kids, and that's the most important takeaway for me from this little mini episode is kids are always learning, whether it's good or bad. They're always watching. They're always observing. They're at that age where everything's fascinating to them. Everything's interesting to them. So, I would challenge you guys to think of ways to teach your kids kindness. And you can do, the holidays are coming up. You can think of a family that's in need, do a Secret Santa, get your kids involved. I know my family, me and my wife, my kids, we've done that every year for the past 4 or 5 years. And my kids actually look forward to it now. Mm-hmm. Instead, it's kind of shifted. Instead of, they're still excited for the presents and stuff, but I could see a shift in their mindset of they're almost more excited to go out and go shopping for this family that we're going to go help and, stuff like that. You can give random cards or flowers or something to a neighbor. Any other ideas?
Even if you see like a neighbor doing yard work, you
can always
to help.
Offer
to help.
Yep.
Even if you don't like getting your hands dirty, there's always something that you could do to help. And it's.
I feel like there's not enough of this kind of stuff in the world where we're actually taking our kids and helping other people or serving other people.
Yeah, and if you've seen any of our TikToks, our Instagram Reels, our YouTube Shorts, we've got a bunch of different ones that we've taken out.
Yeah.
And hid these little gift packs. Well, I don't want to say gift packs, but
little card
handwritten cards, and
it's got some little
goodies, stickers, things in it, just positive affirmations. And we go and hide those.
And we don't do that to show off or to boast. We do that to teach our kids and to show everyone else that there's little things that people can do to make a big difference.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's like a long time ago, like me and my buddy, we were out to dinner and just having a good time, and we saw this family come in, and you could tell they were struggling. That was a wife, a husband, and a little kid, and they sat down, and we called the waiter over to us, the waitress, and we're like, hey, we want to pay for their meal. And it's something that most people don't think about.
No, I don't.
And I'm always looking. I'm always looking for opportunities to help, to serve, and it's like, and I've always been that way.
Yeah.
And by doing that small kindness, and that the thing is what they did is they ordered a kid's meal, and they ordered a side to share between the two of them. And that's it. That's all they ordered. Yeah. I think the total was under $8.
Oh, geez.
And I was like, I was kind of flabbergasted a little bit. I was put back as like, this. They went out to make sure their kid, got the experience to go out, and they got just the bare minimum that And I was like, oh, I'm glad I paid for it, and and things. I kind of I almost wanted to do more, but at the same time I wanted to stay anonymous.
Right.
So I didn't tell the family or anything. And then we paid the bills and we left before they even finished. So they had no idea until they were done, and we were already gone. Cool. And and that's another thing about kindness is you don't need the recognition from it.
No.
It's just doing the act.
Yeah, exactly. And actually teaching your kids that you don't need recognition is just as important too.
Yeah.
Do things anonymously. You don't need to be praised for it.
And you don't need to be there to see the reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just when you do it out of the goodness of yourself.
It's funny. We real quick, speaking of those little cards that we hide, in certain places. Me and my boy hid one in Target, and my boy was really wanting to see because he saw me post a video on TikTok, and he's like, "Dad, did someone find it?" I'm like, "I don't know, bud. That's the fun part is we don't know." He's like, "Well, do you think they'll post a video of them finding it?" I'm like, "I don't think so." But the other day we're at Target, and he's like, "Well, let's go see if someone picked it up." 2 weeks later, of course they did, and we went to the spot where he hid it, and he's like, "Oh, they found it!" So he was really excited about it. It was cool.
Yeah. And see, it's just those little things.
Yeah.
And it builds excitement in your kids because, they're like, oh, I wonder. And because they're always learning.
Exactly.
So,
and they're going to, teaching kids all these great things about being kind and serving and giving is going to turn them into really well-rounded adults, adults that have feelings and actually look out for other people. And
potentially the next leaders of the next generation.
Exactly.
Well, not potentially. They are going to be.
They are going to be, yeah.
So that's what you should always focus on is teaching them to be outward, not inward, and just share overall kindness and compassion for others.
So we threw out a few things that we do, but let's hear from you guys in the comments. What are some great things that you guys do to teach your kids how to be kind and sharing? So we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. Hey.
Thanks.
Until next time.